Facebook. But we want to welcome everybody to the brand new development series with your boy, the Impact Builder. That will be me, Leroy McKenzie Jr., coming to you as we always, as I try to bring you information, knowledge, information, and resources that will enlighten you, empower you, impact you, and that is to teach you something, to equip you with something, and then to move you, impact you to want to do something. That's what we do here at JNF Enterprises. And also, this brand new is brought to you by JNF Enterprises as well as the Black Professional Men, which is our mission is to ensure the future of the African American male. And we do that by educating you, activating you, and elevating you. So we want to welcome y'all in. And y'all know I try to bring on people. If I'm not speaking, I want to bring you on people that are just phenomenal. That's all I'm gonna say about the folks that I try to bring on here, because they're gonna come with their expertise. They're gonna come with their knowledge, their information, and resources about the topic that we try to talk about, and we're gonna have a conversation about it. So tonight is no different. And I have with me, because I'm ready to get into this conversation with this young lady here. I've been excited, looking forward to talking to her, because she is such a phenomenal young lady. She is what I call a boss. And B.O.S. stands, for those of you that don't know, that boss life is build, organize, shift, and sacrifice. And she is someone who does that. She's built a phenomenal business. She organizes that business in multiple things that she does, which we're going to get into in a minute. She shifts the atmosphere, and she's going to talk about how she shifts us as entrepreneurs in the mental state that we're in later. And I know as a part of her entrepreneurship journey, she is sacrificed, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. That the mental cost of entrepreneurship. And this is none other. Well, I want to introduce you all to Miss Shanna Jefferson, to the brand new development series. Well, hello there, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Leroy. Oh my gosh, it's definitely a blessing to connect with you once again virtually. I know we did this, I believe, earlier this year or late last year on my show,
Right.
but finally, I am a guest on your show, so I am definitely grateful for that.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on and joining me tonight. It is a pleasure to actually be with you. Now, before we get started, now, y'all, I'm telling y'all, we did not plan this at all. But but Shayna sent me earlier this year. She sent me one of her shirts, and you see the shirt that she's wearing, right? Y'all see that, right? It says "Visionary."
Right.
Y'all hold it up all wrong. If y'all can
Right. We're
see, it
winning
is.
today, right? Yes, yes, yes. Visionaries. Thank you so much for your support.
So I am a part of her visionary club, if you will, and that is so true that we are all visionaries. So I want y'all to listen up, and entrepreneurs. I want y'all to run, grab your notebooks, grab your pads, papers, whatever you got to grab, all of those things, in order for you to be able to take notes. Because I promise you, you're going to want to write down the information that this young lady is going to be giving you all tonight. So, Shayna, let's start off, and I usually start off this way. Something really easy is by having you tell people, introduce yourself to the people, and tell people a little bit about who you are, who is Shanna Jefferson, and what you do.
Absolutely. So really, Leroy, I'm just a girl, a black girl that is, from Allendale, South Carolina, small town in the low country of South Carolina. So shout out to everybody from Allendale and the surrounding area that's tuning in this evening. I definitely always, always, always appreciate the love and support from my hometown. But After graduating high school, Alabama Fairfax High School, class of 2002, I matriculated to UNC Chapel Hill, received my undergrad degree from there, and then several years later, received my Master of Social Work degree from UNC Chapel Hill as well. Since that time, I pretty much worked in mostly, well, in the mental health field, as well as with those who are homeless
Okay.
in North Carolina, as well as Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, more cities than that, a matter of fact. So Durham, North Carolina was pretty much home base for my business, and I'll share more about my business later. But then later on, I expanded to Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia. Um,
Yeah.
so it's definitely,
No, I was gonna say, I'm gonna tell you, my favorite school growing up was actually North Carolina Chapel Hill, Tall Hill. I was a Tall Hill in my mind because
well,
I've always loved the basketball team. I've always been a Carolina basketball fan, and I'd actually wanted to go there, but wasn't able to go out of state there and
mhm.
everything like that. But that was my favorite school. Definitely one
Yeah.
of my favorite schools after my Hawks, my UMES Hawks. Now,
I was gonna say, don't say was, because once a Tar Heel, always a Tar Heel,
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So yes, I definitely love my Tar Heels. But professionally, as a psychotherapist and a business coach, I help entrepreneurs, such as myself, such as you, right, minimize stress in order to increase their profitability. And when I speak of profitability, I'm not just talking about the money, right? I'm talking
Mhm.
about profitability on multiple domains in life as well as business. Um, and this is important, Leroy, and perhaps you already know this for really a few reasons. One, according to studies, nearly 50% of businesses fail within the first year of business.
Yeah, yep.
50%. And then fast forward to those who survive the first year, and another 20% don't survive the second year of
Yep.
business for various reasons, a lack of capital, lack of resources, limited accountability, limited support. But also, I must add, as a mental health therapist, not having a solid foundation
Wow.
mentally, and not even just mentally, because I take a holistic approach.
Hmm.
So when I speak of, I think you mentioned the mental cost of entrepreneurship. When I speak of that, Leroy, it's really taking a holistic approach to entrepreneurship,
Okay.
not just focusing, say, on the financial aspect of entrepreneurship, but ensuring that you're well emotionally,
Yeah.
spiritually, physically, socially, really in all domains. So that's definitely important for us as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if entrepreneurs understand that before even becoming an entrepreneur, when they even think about starting a business, and because I know one of the things that I say now, I have more respect for Fortune 500 companies now than I did before I started my journey. I said because I didn't fully understand the the amount of effort that it takes, not only just the physical grind that you're on, but the mental, like you said, the mental grind that you
Right.
you know that you have to have, the mental fortitude that you have, because there's so many ups and downs, and you have a lot of entrepreneurs that worry about not having that capital, so they got to worry about making payroll, they got to come out of their pocket to do this and do
Mm-hmm.
that, all of those things that go into that. And I always talk about that those first 5 years for entrepreneurs, because what I found when I first started my business and I was doing research and looking into businesses about entrepreneurship, there were plenty of books that told you about how to start a business, the business plan, and you do this and you do that, but there wasn't anything out there to tell you how to keep the doors open. once
Mm-hmm.
those once those doors open, what do I do to be able to keep them open? Because like you said, 50% in the first year, and then
Right.
and then another 20% in that second year, and I'm wondering what it is that third, fourth, and fifth year. I'm sure it goes up even more. So there's different dynamics to it, and being able to handle that as an entrepreneur, I mean, it's something that people, I think a lot of entrepreneurs take lightly, if you ask me.
Right.
They take
Right.
lightly, they take lightly, and they don't understand what it takes to be able to pour into having your own. Yes, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would not
Right.
trade it for the world. I said, I tell people, I said, this journey, this entrepreneurship journey will have you curled up like a baby asking you, why in the world do I do this? Why am I doing
Hmm.
it? I said, but I remember telling one of my closest friends years ago. I remember telling him, I said, if I'm going to kill myself for somebody else, I said, I'm not going to kill myself for somebody else. I said, if I'm going to kill myself for somebody, I'm going to kill myself for myself, being in business for myself, making sure that I'm the one that reaps the benefits from working so hard instead of giving somebody else my intellectual capital and all those things that they can use for their benefit to make them richer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
so what part of I'm sorry, what got you started in entrepreneurship and wanting to begin the journey that you're on?
Sure. Good question. And let me just add this to what you were just
Uh-huh.
saying. One of
Yeah,
my favorite
absolutely.
quotes when it comes to entrepreneurship is actually by T.D. Jakes.
Mm.
And T.D. Jakes once said, entrepreneurship is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know that you definitely are very much aware of that, but you absolutely have to have that mental fortitude, as you indicated. You must have the mindset that you will be successful as an entrepreneur. Having a 9 to 5 mindset, or a mindset that's anything other than a mindset of abundance,
Yeah.
you're not going to thrive as an entrepreneur. If you don't have a mindset as one of someone that's going to overcome any obstacle that comes your way, you're not going to be successful as an entrepreneur. So your mindset is absolutely key and imperative for a successful journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's one
No
of the
doubt.
things. hmm And with the entrepreneurs that I work with in various capacities, including coaching, that's one of the first things that we cover. And I know you speak of that often as well. You have to cultivate a greatness mindset, or a mindset of greatness.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. But as far as my journey, being an entrepreneur, honestly, Leroy, I would say it stems from my father.
Okay.
My
Okay.
father, he was a mhm. So professionally, actually, my father, he was an educator. Matter of fact, he taught 33 years in the
Wow.
state of South Carolina, 28 of those years at my high school, Allendale Fairfax.
Oh, your dad was like
But
that
my
too?
father, he actually, what do you say?
No, I said your dad was your high. It was a high school teacher at your school because mine was as well. So
Oh, really
yeah,
interesting. Yes,
yeah.
he was a math teacher,
Okay.
as well as he driver's ed and a few other things as well.
Okay.
Now, however, we weren't at the school at the same time
Oh,
because
okay.
my father
Okay.
actually retired before I was even born.
Got you. Got you.
Yes.
Got
So,
you. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest of three, the oldest of his three youngest kids. And so when my father retired, he had a family to take care of, right? So he became the tape man, the watermelon man, the peach man, you name it. Like growing up, oh my gosh, I have so many memories of going door to door back in I guess the late 80s and the 90s with my father as he sold his products. The tapes.
Oh
Back then it was the
wow.
cassette tapes. If there are any youngins watching today, y'all probably don't even know what a cassette tape
I know,
is.
right?
So I guess it means I have a little age on me, right? But cassette tapes, CDs, peaches, watermelon, cantaloupe in the
Oh wow.
summertime. Um, yeah, but he did that to support his family. So,
Mm.
I learned a lot from seeing my father do that again as a man who had already had a full career and more, because he did a lot more as well. He was a
Okay.
civil rights activist,
Oh cool.
educational activist, amongst some other things. But as a man, he knew he had to take care of his family.
Mm.
So he did what he had to do, and that's what he did to support his family. So truly, I learned the value of the grind, the hustle, um, and doing whatever it takes, essentially, right, to ensure that my needs are met, so I can, really not depend on anyone else, And so that I can honestly have a better life than my father or that we had growing up as well. So really, when I think about entrepreneurship, my earliest memories actually stem from seeing my father out there hustling from sun up some days to beyond sunset, um, literally driving throughout the low country of South Carolina. So I'm not sure if there's anyone from Allendale or the low country of South Carolina listening today, but if they're my age or older, definitely, they have plenty of stories to tell about my father. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is an awesome, awesome story. Yeah.
Yeah. But business, as far as my business endeavors, I actually established my very first business about 7.5 years ago, and that's my mental health practice, and that's called Destination Greatness Mental Health Services. And again, that was initially established in Durham, North Carolina, and then later on we expanded to my home state of South Carolina, as well as the Atlanta, Georgia area. Over the last few years, we started transitioning to virtual services, and now with the COVID-19 pandemic, all of our services are conducted virtually. So residents of any of those three states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and now actually New Jersey, can receive services through my practice, mental services.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And we'll talk a little bit more about the effects of COVID on on entrepreneurs, but you as well, as we get into the conversation. But what part does mental health play in being an entrepreneur? Do you think?
Without mental wellness, there's truly no wellness at all. And that's not just for entrepreneurs, because I mean, my focus at this time has been on working with entrepreneurs, but I work with people from various various journeys in life, whatever. And if you don't take charge of your mental health, you're not going to thrive in your relationships. You're not going to thrive in your business. You're not going to thrive in your schooling, your educational endeavors, whatever it may be. You have to be well mentally, right? It doesn't mean the absence of a mental illness, but essentially it means that you're taking charge of your mental health. So if you're someone who's struggling with depression or anxiety, mama issues, daddy issues, anxiety, PTSD, whatever it is, until you acknowledge there is a challenge or an issue and take charge of that, you're not going to be successful in life or in business. So, and especially for entrepreneurs, where for especially those who are solopreneurs, right? You wear all these hats to a certain extent. So you have to be well emotionally. You have to be well mentally. And if you're not, it's important, and it's okay to get a checkup, right? It's okay to check in with someone, check in with yourself first, and then check in with someone else. And then also on that note, Leroy, as entrepreneurs, we need to hold each other accountable to ensure that we're doing what we need to do to stay healthy emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. I see a lot of posts often regarding, the financial aspects of entrepreneurship, which is extremely important, but we cannot neglect those other domains of entrepreneurship as well. And not just entrepreneurship, life.
Right. Now, I want to piggyback off of what you just said, because you talked about being mentally healthy. How does, not just an entrepreneur, but how does one stay or have that consistency with being mentally healthy? What is it? What are a couple of things that folks need to do or should be doing to remain mentally healthy?
That's a great question. And sometimes it may seem cliche for some, but it is so imperative that we implement self-care into our lives. And that can look different ways for different people.
Okay.
So self-care for you may be blocking out a set time in your schedule to do nothing or do something that you enjoy doing, spending time with someone, watching your favorite show, reading, exercising, whatever it may be. but is important as the CEO of your life to put in time to take care of you. That's first and foremost above all else. And then also another thing, I had a session earlier with a client who also who's an entrepreneur, and we talked about the importance of her morning routine.
Okay.
And we went over some things she can do each and every morning to get her day started. I do what I call an 8x8 challenge. So 8 things that I do by 8 a.m. every morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One,
okay.
waking up at 5. And it doesn't take 3 hours to get all these things done, but that's my goal. So 8 things by 8 a.m., including, ensuring that I wake up at 5. I'm getting my spiritual devotion in. I'm getting my entrepreneur soul food in. I'm getting my exercise in. Not all the time, but I'm going to do better with that, Leroy. I think I mentioned my trainer to you before we went live.
Right.
So definitely making sure that I get back on that journey. I did exercise today, but I know in order to get to the next level in our life and business, we have to be on the next level in all aspects of our lives. So, if something you're doing isn't working or you're not challenging yourself enough, you have to go harder. You have to push yourself harder if you want more, because that's the only way you're going to get more. It's not just going to come to you. You have to go get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. It's funny you say that about getting up at 5 a.m. because I remember I've watched, and I don't know if you watch either one of them, but Kobe Bryant has a number of interviews that he's done that he did before he passed away, of course, and everything. But he talked about his routine. And he talked about when he first came into the league, or even I think maybe even before, he talked about getting better, how he was going to be, if he was going to be the greatest basketball player that he wanted to be, he knew that there were certain things that certain players did. Let's say 8 o'clock they start their day, 8 to 10 they did this, 10 to 12 they did this, 12 to 2 they did this. He added, he said he was like, well, how can I make myself better? And he started getting up earlier. He started his day, like you said, 5 o'clock. He said, 5 o'clock, doing this. He said, because when you add those amount of hours to your routine that everybody else wasn't doing, you're going to, that difference in your excellence between them and you was going to be expanded. So I was just like, man, this dude is on another level when it comes to stuff. And even Eric Thomas, he talked about that, getting up 4 o'clock a.m. to start his day. There's something about those early morning hours with entrepreneurs, with those that are passionate. I ain't there yet. I'll admit. I'm not there yet.
I'm gonna give you a call 5 in the morning.
I know, right? But I think, but that's the thing. But I may not do it on the front end, but I do it on the back end. I'm up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, doing things where everybody else might be asleep. So I think that it's great that you talked about that routine, developing a routine, and that has to be become a part of your lifestyle. Because I promise you, entrepreneurs have that mentality and that lifestyle that goes. They are routine oriented, and I always say this, that we're working when everybody else is sleeping, or we're working when everybody else is relaxing, and all of those things and everything like that. So I'm glad you mentioned that about part of that routine, or that mentally what we do to be able to get ourselves in that mindset and everything like that, because I think that's very important.
Yep, absolutely. And as you just indicated, I mean, entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. It's not a seasonal gig, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. You have to go full-fledged all seasons. Some seasons will look different than others, but nevertheless, you still have to wear that entrepreneur cap at all times.
Now, let's talk about what we mentioned, the mental cost of being an entrepreneur. I want you to give folks kind of like just 3 things that are encompassed in that 3 mental costs of being an entrepreneur. What's it going to cost you mentally?
Definitely stress. that's one of the things that many of the entrepreneurs that come to me endure, and perhaps all of us as entrepreneurs at some point have endured stress, but certainly impacts people differently for different reasons. So certainly, you know, the stress of, you mentioned earlier, you know, not being able to make payroll, or the stress of, you know, not being able to, you know, pay their personal bills. Um, also a lack of understanding from maybe family and friends. I think some entrepreneurs, when they start the journey initially, they expect to get that support from those that are close to them. Well, you know, there are some entrepreneurs that do get that support, and that's an amazing thing. And I wish more people had that experience. But unfortunately, I've endured this, and in my conversations and sessions with other entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs new to the journey. And honestly, when I was new to the journey, as well as when I published my first book, you know, it was challenging for me, you know, trying to understand, you know, why my close family and friends, right, weren't supporting. I'm like, I mean, it's just a $10 book, right? You know, even if you don't read it, purchase the book, or, you know, just donate $10, right? Or purchase it, give it to someone else. So I was there years ago when I started this journey. But we have to understand, you know, when you decide to branch out into the next level, then you're going to have to surround yourself with next level people with next level mindsets. And it's, you know, nothing against family and friends. They can perhaps always be family and friends, but that's not going to be the circle that's going to propel you to the next level of your greatness journey. Another cost of entrepreneurship is burnout. And one reason for burnout is going back to self-care. Entrepreneurs not taking good care of themselves. You know, you have to I mentioned getting that entrepreneur soul food. I actually listened to Eric Thomas today, actually. And I think he said, separate yourself. And you were actually kind of alluding to that. You have to separate yourself, right? If you want to be different, if you want to stand out, you have to separate yourself from everyone else. So that's definitely one of the critical things that entrepreneurs must do. But burnout can lead to increased mental health symptoms, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and sometimes actually, unfortunately, suicide as well. I'm sure some of us, you know, have heard the stories of the CEOs of large companies, you know, unfortunately taking their lives, but it happens on a, you know, other scales as well, you know, in just our everyday communities as well. Entrepreneurs and business owners struggling for various reasons, and just unfortunately they, you know, and that take their lives. And a matter of fact, let's see, today's Thursday. Today, a matter of fact, is National Suicide Awareness Day.
Okay.
Interesting enough. So it's definitely important for us to, you know, raise light and raise awareness when it comes to suicide, not only amongst the general population, but for entrepreneurs as well. And then beyond that, just, I would say, the uncertainty that comes with entrepreneurship. You know, for most people, typically things have changed now. And honestly, I tell people, I feel as if there's no guarantee if you work for somebody else. So
Absolutely.
as you said earlier, right, you'll have whatever guarantees come with you working for yourself. But even with that, right, there are uncertainties when in your entrepreneurship journey. As I mentioned earlier, it may look very different from another season for various reasons. Right now with the pandemic, for some, they weren't able to survive. Others have made adjustments, and others are thriving even in the midst of a pandemic. Right? So it really depends on a multitude of factors, but most importantly, why did you get into this journey in the first place as an entrepreneur, right? And are you truly in it for the long run? Is it truly a lifestyle for you? Because if it is, you're not going to fall short in this season that we all are currently in, that consists of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely, and I hope that people understand that, because it's gonna cost you, and even for those that have careers and working for somebody else, if you're trying to build a career, or trying to build build your career within an industry and everything like that, it's gonna cost you. But as an entrepreneur, you have to understand the mental weight that comes with that. that comes with other people, and I think we talked a little bit about it too. Other people that if you are employing other people, they're depending on you to be able to, to be able to have that check for them. Because I remember this was years ago. I remember an entrepreneur that I interviewed. His mindset was, this is the way we eat. This is the way that people feed their families. This is the way, him having those employees, he wanted to make sure that those families were able to do what it was that they needed to do. So that was always his thought process of being an entrepreneur, was making sure that, hey, I'm doing the things that I need to do so that my employees are taken care of, and that they're taken care of, and that's a big responsibility. And even if that one employee is you, still having to make sure that you're taken care of, and that you are, that you're able to do what it is that you need to do. That takes a lot, mentally,
Yeah,
on you and everything. So um, let's let's
absolutely.
yeah, let's talk about this. What are three things that you believe entrepreneurs have a misconception about when it comes to being an entrepreneur? Talk about that. Now I want you to personalize it. What did you think about being an entrepreneur before you became an entrepreneur? What did you think that it would be? And then, if is it what you thought it would be now that you've been on this journey for the time frame that you've been
Whew. Wow. I can, gosh, say so much. Um,
on?
where do I start? But I think one thing, and I didn't necessarily think this, and I can go into maybe some more of my experiences as well.
Oh,
But one thing that I've heard from entrepreneurs that I work with is,
mm,
or even just from others, is that they may see someone else experiencing success in a certain domain of entrepreneurship and have the expectation that just because this entrepreneur has experienced a
mm,
certain level of success, that
right.
they will automatically experience that level of success as well.
Mm,
Well, it doesn't quite work that way, right? There are different factors, and again, as I mentioned earlier, it goes back to your mindset.
mhm,
If you don't have that mindset of greatness, if you don't have that mindset that you are going to overcome whatever obstacles that come your way, then you're not going to be successful. And gosh, now being in business nearly 8 years, we don't have enough time to talk about the obstacles that I've endured um, as a business owner. But from the pain and from the business hurt, we talk about church
yeah,
hurt a lot, right?
right,
But from
right.
that business hurt, I've learned so much. I've learned
Mhm,
so much about myself, a greater awareness of others, and certainly more importantly, a greater awareness of my entrepreneur endeavors as well. Um, so yeah.
yeah, it can be, like I said, and I've said before, that just the effort that I know for me, it was just the effort that it takes to build a brand,
Mm-hmm.
to build a business. Um, that takes it. It takes a not just it takes a strategy. It takes a plan, and it takes an effort
Mm-hmm.
of implementing all of those things. So I think
Oh,
that's good. Now
now
with you, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I apologize. Yeah, and I'll
Hmm.
add this as well. And this is one of the things that I've actually struggled with on my journey at some point as well. Entrepreneurs thinking that they can be successful traveling this road of entrepreneurship alone. You
Mm,
cannot do it alone. Even if
wow.
you're a solo entrepreneur, it's going to take additional support and accountability
Yeah,
beyond yourself
yeah,
to push you forward. And those people may not necessarily, be directly involved in your agency. There are some key supports that you do
right,
need
right.
as an entrepreneur. But beyond that, it may be a spiritual advisor to keep you grounded spiritually. It may be a fitness trainer, to ensure that you're doing what you need to do to stay on top of your
Mm,
physical game. But whatever it is or whoever it is, it cannot only be you. And I tell my clients, entrepreneurs as well as others, you are in the driver's seat. right? Everyone else is just a passenger in your vehicle, some for a brief period of time, others perhaps for a lifetime. But throughout your life,
Mm,
your journey in life as well as business, you will always be at that wheel. And it's up to you to decide what passengers you're going to let in that vehicle at what periods of time during that journey, and who you're. Sometimes you may have some passengers, because I've had passengers in my vehicle when I started my business nearly 8 years ago. And they got the boot, right? And that's okay. Everyone is not going to be on the journey with you forever. And you have to be okay with that. And it can be more challenging, honestly, perhaps when those people are close family and friends to you. But you're going to have to separate that. If you have this vision for your life and for your business, and someone else doesn't share that with you, and you not allow them to keep you from driving forward, then that's your problem, right? So you have to be the CEO of your life at all times, the CEO of your business at all times. Hire and fire accordingly.
yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
do what works for you.
Yeah. And I call it the people that you have around you. I call it your circle of impact. You know, those
Mm-hmm.
individuals, um, that one that you pour into, but then also more importantly that pour into you, because you shouldn't always be pouring out. Um, because if you're always pouring out, then you don't have any. You'll find yourself empty, just like an ATM machine. ATM
Mm-hmm.
machine, all you can't just have. They don't just have ATM machines that money's always taken out. There always has to be money that's put into that ATM. And I tell people it's like, when you go to a restaurant. I call it the pitcher in the glass theory. When you go to a restaurant, there's always glasses at the table that you sit at. There's a glass for each setting. I said, but then they bring a pitcher of water, lemonade, whatever that they bring out to the table. I said, and the pitcher is used to pour into the glasses, and it fills the glasses up. I said, sometimes with the pitcher, where we pour into people, and then sometimes with the glasses, we have to be the glass to get poured into, so that we have that energy, so that we have that mentalness, to the mental fortitude to be able to deal with the journey that we're on. Because, like you said, we really cannot do this walk, this journey by ourselves, man. Because this thing is too it is too powerful to be doing by ourselves, and too strong to be doing by ourselves. So that's really important. Now I want you to talk about being a woman entrepreneur. What are three things that you would like for women to learn before they start on their entrepreneurship journey? And then what in this entrepreneurship journey, what things that should they be doing as well, or understand as well? Do you think?
Okay. And and let me say this, Leroy. I actually of course, I'm a female or woman entrepreneur and love being a female boss. But I don't exclusively work with women. So in my
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur endeavors, I actually work with men as well as women. But
Absolutely.
my latest February of this year, matter of fact, I released this book, Living Boldly:
Mm-hmm.
35 Principles to Manifest Greatness in Your Life and Business. And some really great principles in here, from women as well as men.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first principle, Leroy, or one of the things that women, must do before they start their journey. We already talked about this. Cultivate a greatness mindset. You probably can't see it there, but cultivate a greatness mindset. That's principle number one in here. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that mindset of greatness or abundance, as we mentioned earlier, you're not going to be successful in your business endeavors. Another principle in here is never let a statistic define you. I believe it's principle 9. There it goes. Never let a statistic define you. So, I mentioned earlier when we started, I'm from Allendale, South Carolina. My school district was actually taken over by the State Department of Education in
Mm-hmm.
1999.
Okay.
I was a freshman. So I heard all the stories. You're not good enough because of where you're from. I actually had a teacher tell me at one point, um, I had a strike against me because of who my father was, and
Wow.
all these messages from not just outsiders, sometimes from insiders as well,
Mm-hmm.
but certainly there were a lot of messages from outsiders who did not have an understanding of, um, us as individuals, right? Students and community members, and the strengths that we actually have within that community. So I know there are others out there, whether it's because perhaps you had a child at an early age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you went to a certain high school, or you're from a certain part of town, whatever the reason is, right? Those statistics that are out there that are thrown in our faces in media from family, friends, whoever, you know what? You cannot allow those things to define you. And I actually have a quote in here, Leroy, from First Lady Michelle Obama. And she once said, "Your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages." So you have to use that adversity. You have to use, any pain for your greater good. And let's see, I'll pull one more from here. Oh, I love this one here, actually. Actually, so many, but let's see. Let me just give you one more. I thought I was going to say that one, but let me see if I can find another one here quickly. All right, so I'll just say this one, actually, because this is important. If self-care is in here, by the way, as well. Discover the magic of you. Mm. You have to know, women, men as well, but hey, ladies, you have to know who you are and the power that you have, right, in your life, and the power that you have in this world. You absolutely have to discover the magic of you personally before you can pour yourself into really anything, and certainly before you can pour yourself into your entrepreneur endeavors. So, self-discovery, self-assessment, that's something that I do often, and I encourage others to do that often as well, before really you start any new journey in life, but definitely before you decide to pursue entrepreneurship. So again, that's just 3 principles from my latest book here, Living Boldly. So
absolutely, and we're gonna have you. That'll be one of the last things we do, where we talk about how people can connect with you, though, to buy the book, and your other products and services that you have. Now, let me ask you, with you dealing with entrepreneurs, do you find do entrepreneurs find it difficult to discuss their struggles? Have you found that?
Yeah, definitely. And part of it, I think it could be a gift as well as curse. A curse when it comes to entrepreneurs, because there are certain traits that you must have in order to be successful as an entrepreneur. And we hold a lot in. You mentioned a business owner that perhaps is struggling to make payroll. He or she is responsible for the livelihoods of others. That's a huge burden. I've been there, right? I understand that. I get it. But as entrepreneurs, it's, if you aren't well, I mean, you can cover things up, you can put on this facade and whatever, but if you truly are struggling emotionally, if you are struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with sadness, crying spells, if you're isolating yourself more, if you, well, hopefully most of us are social distancing now, but nevertheless, though, if you find yourself, isolating just because you don't want to be around others, because you're not in the mood, right? Or because you feel like you're ashamed, or you feel like a failure, whatever the reason is, you have to seek out support, right? It can be an accountability partner, a mentor, a coach, or I'm a coach as well as a psychotherapist. So definitely I'm a mental health therapist, a mental health professional as well, to work through those issues. The good thing is, Leroy, hope is available, right? Where you are now is not where you have to be, especially if you're in a place where you feel stuck or trapped. That's not where you have to be. That does not have to define your life journey. Does not have to define where your business is going to be next. But in order to get unstuck and keep moving forward, right, you're going to have to acknowledge that you're not in a good place. And it's okay not to be in a good place, because great things can come from that dark place that you're in, but you can't stay in that dark place, right, for that greatness to manifest. In order to get unstuck, it's okay to ask for help. reach out to somebody. Perhaps definitely a mental health therapist such as myself, or, I'm not licensed in every state and I can't work everyone as a clinician, but, there are clinicians in, every state. So you can go to Psychology Today. You can do a Google search. If you need to contact my company, I'll be happy, or I have one of my assistants, refer you to someone that can assist you wherever you are. But again, it is okay to ask for help. I don't care what your title is, boss, CEO, head person in charge, or try to clean it up, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? We're all human.
Yeah.
And you have to, and humans get knocked down. I don't care what title you have.
Yep.
And we all need support. So it's okay to seek support from somebody. Don't wait until it's too late, right? Seek support early on in your journey. Make having a mental health coach, mental health therapist, or any type of support person on your team, or as you say, right, your circle of impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your circle impact. Have that person in your circle of impact that you can go to at any time, right? When you're feeling down, when you're struggling. That's going to be one of the keys to your success as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, kind of going off of that, 2020 has been just a year, a year that I don't think any of us, I don't even think in our wildest imaginations that we could imagine going through a year like this. You throw on top of all that we're going through in this year, being an entrepreneur. How can an entrepreneur begin to understand the effects of the pandemic that we're dealing with now on them and their businesses right now? For that entrepreneur that like we talked about, that is on the precipice of deciding, hey, do I need to close my business? Or even the ones that might have had to close their business. How do they deal with that from a mental perspective?
One, do a self-assessment. You have to continuously assess, your life and business, weigh the pros and cons, do a SWOT analysis, do some type of assessment or analysis on your life. That's one of the principles in that book, as well as the second book that I wrote probably about 5 years ago, that offers tools for success for entrepreneurs, titled, 33 Tools for Success. But you just, again, and more so, still have that mindset of abundance, and remember that this is just a season. Okay, yes, you may have to repurpose things or adapt, right? But that's one of the key traits that principles that entrepreneurs must have anyways throughout their entrepreneurship journey. And this is just a season. The difference with the COVID-19 pandemic, Leroy, is that it impacts all of us in some capacity, for better or for worse, right? So, and you probably, most of us probably have heard the saying before, it's not what you go through, right? It's how you get through it, right? And it's what you grow, what grows, or what manifests as a result of what you go through. So you have to look at the COVID-19 pandemic, and it, personally, honestly, it's impacted me. I've had several family members to die, including a sister this year, from the pandemic. And so I get it personally, I get it professionally. Although we've made some transitions in the last few years to provide virtual services, there's still other adjustments that take place for myself, for my company, for our clients as well. But being adaptable, right? Having flexibility, and still having a mindset that I'm going to get through this. I'm going to overcome whatever obstacle that comes my way. And currently that obstacle may be COVID-19, right? Or it is COVID-19 for a lot of us, right? But if you already have it instilled in you that this is my mindset, yes, I may have to make some changes to my business. It may mean closing, right? But it doesn't mean it has to close forever, right? That's just a season that you're in for this moment. The other key, again, Leroy, is for you to seek support. So it may be, a business coach, right? There are many business coaches out here, support from the Small Business Administration, right? There may be others in your local community that can offer supportive services for you as you decide what step to take next in your endeavors. But don't give up. It may look different, but never, ever, 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 ever give up.
Yeah, yeah. Because I've always said that never stop believing, but also, the the mission doesn't change. The
Right.
means in which you accomplish that mission may change, but the mission, what you do, what you do, does not change. And
That's not true.
we have entrepreneurs. The great thing about us, or those that are able to um, get through uh, think great things, is their ability to be able to shift and understand what needs to be done in those shifts. And that's what I've called 2020. I've called 2020 the shift because it shifted us either to the left or to the right. But either way, you have to be able to adjust to that shift that you're going through. So
Yep.
absolutely.
And let me add this as well, because I've heard people say this, entrepreneurs as well as others,
Mhm.
that 2020 is over, might as well start with 2021. Yes, you should be planning for 2021 and beyond, right?
Right.
But 2020 ain't
It
over,
ain't
y'all.
over. And
September
let me tell
10th,
you, it is not
2020.
over. And these
It
next
is
couple of
not
months,
over.
it ain't
You
over.
got to go get it. Yes, this may be the season for you to sit back and reset. I've actually gone through a reset myself in certain aspects, right? That is okay,
Yeah.
right? We need that reset in order to be refreshed and take things to the next level. But whatever you do, do not write 2020 off, because it ain't over. It ain't over until December 31st, 2020, right? Until then, keep moving, keep pushing forward. Never give up. Get up and go get it every day. Go get it.
Absolutely. And it's not about getting knocked down, because we all get knocked down, but it's one, the ability to
Mm-hmm.
get back up. And what did you learn to get back up? So,
Right.
those things. So I want you to talk about your businesses, because I know that you have a couple of businesses, and I know that you have a nonprofit, if I'm not mistaken. So I really want you to talk about that too. Let's talk about your businesses, your products and services that you have, and then the nonprofit that you work on, that you have.
Sure. And first, I'll drop my website, because as you
Yeah.
indicate, I do a multitude of things. But you can learn more pretty much about all of my endeavors by going to my primary website, and that's www.shanajefferson.com, SHANNA Jefferson.com. And again, that'll take you to the various aspects of my brand, which includes the mental health services through Destination Greatness. And again, we provide individual therapy, as well as other supportive services to clients in, well, the therapy is provided in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, but our other services are provided to clients throughout the United States. So your state of, you're in Maryland, or if you're in Cali, New York, it doesn't matter, right? We can provide those services to you. So you can go to, again, ShanaJefferson.com, and just click the link for mental health services to learn more. I also have my Living Boldly platform, and this book that I showed earlier is actually part of that platform. The very first book, actually, I released on the Living Boldly platform. And this is primarily targeted towards women, to women who are ready to, again, take their life and business to the next level. So we offer coaching, as well as a membership program, and we also have different products as well available for women. And again, we're not excluding the men either when it comes to the Living Boldly platform. And a matter of fact, you can also text to get on our VIP list for this. Text Living Boldly to 77948. That's Living Boldly to 77948, and actually you'll receive a free ebook as well as regular updates as part of our VIP club. And so beyond that, I have the Visions of Greatness platform. I won't go into everything. Again, y'all can go to my website, ShanaJefferson.com, to learn more. But specifically when it comes to entrepreneurs, the platform, the umbrella platform, is called Visions of Greatness. And that consists of, the talk show, the Visions of Greatness talk show. And I'm actually super excited because I am going to resume season 3 or start season 3 this Sunday.
Oh, cool.
And I know we already talked about having you in an upcoming episode, so I'm super excited about that, Leroy. Previously, I was in a studio. Honestly, I'm going to miss being in the studio. But at this point, it is what it is, right? We adapt and we keep things moving. So we're going to kick off season 3 this Sunday with a very special guest. He's actually my coach, Vegas Don. But we'll be sending out more information soon as it pertains to the Vision of Greatness talk show. I also, as a business coach, I offer strategy services and other support services for entrepreneurs. Again, go to my website and just click on entrepreneurs, and you can learn more about those services. And I know you mentioned the mental cost of entrepreneurship, Leroy. So this is the book that I actually released last July, my very first collaborative book project. There are 10 amazing, Leroy, trailblazers in this book that share their journey of entrepreneurship. And while it was such a blessing to work with the 10 entrepreneurs in this book, but you can learn more about their journey by grabbing your book today on my website. And upcoming, this is an opportunity for all entrepreneurs, regardless of where you are in your journey. We actually will be launching our second collaborative book project soon. Actually, details are going to be sent out this week. For everyone who's on our VIP text list, you're going to get the opportunity to take advantage of our early bird special. Okay, so if you want to get on the VIP text list, that is to take advantage of this early bird rate for the next collaborative book project, and it's titled Visions of Greatness. I want you to text visionary, right, as our shirt says, Leroy. Text visionary to 77948. Visionary to 77948, and you'll be on the VIP text list to get the information that goes out tomorrow. So make sure you text now.
Gotta do it now.
got to do it now to get on the list, and we'll send out those details to everyone on that VIP list tomorrow. So that's just a few of the things coming up before the end of 2020. As I said, Leroy, it ain't over.
It ain't over.
So
it ain't over. What was that song that had that in it? It ain't over. I can't remember the name of that song.
It ain't over. It ain't over, y'all.
I love it.
I'm
I love
right
it.
down here.
Now, I want you to one last time, if someone wants you to do a speaking engagement, or they want to be able to purchase the books, again, give your contact information one more time for them so that they can have that.
Yes, absolutely. So to book me as a speaker or to purchase a book, t-shirts are under $25, or to book a coaching session, strategy session, whatever it is, you can go to my main website at shannajefferson.com.
Absolutely. She gonna get your mind right. Literally. She gonna get your mind right. I love it. I love it. Shanna, I'd like you to give any closing words that you want to give to those entrepreneurs to encourage them that might be going through, whether they're going through or not going through, just an encouraging word for them to finish strong 2020, because like we just been saying, it ain't over. This ain't over. So.
It ain't over. Keep pushing. But let me add this as well, because I heard T.D. Jakes said this when I got in my entrepreneur soul today, Leroy, doing the morning routine that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, T.D. Jakes said, you got to, 5 o'clock. Well, actually, I did this when I was working out. So this part, Leroy, was closer to maybe 7, because I waited until daylight to go outside to work out. So it was about 6:37 when I did this part. But T.D. Jakes said, you got to get off the ground and stop eating dirt. I had to write it down so I remember. You got to get off the ground and stop eating dirt. Okay? But dirt is not your destiny, okay? That's not the place for you to be. That's not the place for you to stay. The only time that you should be where the dirt is when you're building your agency from the ground up, right? I established my business. I literally had to dig the dirt to establish a foundation. But you should not stay in that dirt. In order to move forward, in order to experience the next level of greatness in your life, you got to get out of the dirt. And if you need help getting out of the dirt, I understand. We all get stuck. I've been there. So if you need help getting out of the dirt, don't hesitate to contact your girl. Text Visionary to 77948 or go to my website, send me an email, send me a DM on Facebook, whatever you got to do, right? But you're alone, all right? Keep pushing, never give up, get out the dirt, y'all.
I love it. I love it. Shayna, this has been awesome. I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on and to be able to um, give the people your that this great knowledge, great information, and great resources. I hope y'all, like I told y'all at the beginning, I hope y'all pulled out your pen and pad to be able to get some notes to be able to get you through, because this young lady, like I said, she's going to get your mind right. She's going to make sure that you have the mental aspect of being an entrepreneur together, because without your mental health, trust me, it don't matter about anything else, because ain't nothing else going to be there if that mental part ain't there. So
Right.
I appreciate you, and I am just I enjoy conversations like this, because I want people. My goal, my mission is to have people better after they have seen something like this than they were before. Because my goal every year is to make people better, myself better, one, by the end of that year than I was at the beginning of the year. And thanks to you and people like you, I'm able to do that because of what you all share with us, what you all pour into us, and what you all give to us. So I thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging with a brother for a little bit
Thank you.
and sharing that vision. Like I said, y'all, we did not plan
Right.
this
No, no.
at all. We did not plan this at all. But this is her t-shirt that you can get on her website. Again, if you want to passionate, if you're a visionary and you believe in that, being a visionary, then you definitely want to get that. So it's your boy, Leroy McKenzie Jr. Y'all know what it is. This is 2020, Fast and Furious. We move with purpose and passion. And as I always say, um, build the impact, because when you build the impact, you change the world, and we're about changing the world. And I know people like Shanna Jefferson that are changing the world, one entrepreneur at a time, one book reader at a time, and we appreciate all that that she does and that we do to try to make you all better on the other side. So we thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Later.
Later.